And our top focus story is Iran-US tensions, how they remain high even as diplomacy continues to move forward. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi, remembers, departed for Muscat ahead of the nuclear talks set to take place today with the US. Iran says the discussions aim for a fair, mutually acceptable and dignified agreement focused strictly on the nuclear issue and sanctions relief. Iran has thanked regional countries for facilitating the process and has urged Washington to approach the talks with responsibility. Now, the talks come amid heightened military signaling, with Iran deploying an advanced ballistic missile in an underground IRGC base, while the US Central Command shows readiness as the USS Abraham Lincoln operates in the region. A lot of developments coming in. We also have a live update for you in just a bit. First up, the top reactions.
The president has obviously been quite clear in his demands of the Iranian regime. Zero nuclear capability is something he's been very explicit about, and he wants to see if a deal can be struck. And while these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime that the president has many options at his disposal, aside from diplomacy, as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world.
Quickly bringing in our experts joining us this afternoon. Ambassador Deepak Vora, former diplomat, is with us on the broadcast, along with Major General Rajan Kochar, defense expert. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be an interesting day indeed. I want to quickly begin with Ambassador Vora. Ambassador, lots at stake here, especially given the developments the last few hours itself. We see both the sides clearly resorting to some sort of a military muscle flexing as well. Given the developments we've seen with military weapons, aircrafts, warships, all being spoken of, at least two pointed incidents that are being looked at very closely, what do you think is at stake as far as these talks between Iran and US are concerned going forward?
We wait for a TV program.
Pleasure to be with you. Can you hear me?
Ambassador Vora, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I'm sitting at the airport in Varanasi, so in case the signal goes up and down, you'll forgive me. Essentially, I've lived in that area for over 20 years. Question number one. Iran's nuclear program began in the 1950s. There used to be a character called the Shah of Iran. I don't know if you remember that name. The Americans loved him. There was an Atoms for Peace program. The revolution came in 1979. I was there. America froze its nuclear cooperation. The Shah hadn't talked about nuclear weapons, although he was, I dare say, interested in it. Now, what is the reality today? Why do I think these talks will flop? Number one, for Iran, a nuclear weapon is a matter of pride and sovereignty. They've seen what has happened to Iraq. They've seen what's happened to Libya. They've seen what happened to Syria. And they don't want to be in that boat. If we are going to go down, we'll go down fighting is the kind of. Secondly, for some reason that I've not been able to fathom, Iran, which till the Shah was there were direct flights from Tehran to Tel Aviv. They were lovey-dovey, buddy, sweetheart, darling with Israel. And then suddenly the mullahs came and said Israel doesn't have a right to exist. The whole thing changed. Now, therefore, given these two things, and Iran as a Shia nation, which is not a part of the Middle East. Middle East is Sunni dominated, but they want to claim that they have a role to play. Israel is 2,000 kilometers away. Given these two things, Iran's commitment to obliterating Israel, and second, nuclear weapons, it sees as the ultimate guarantee of its pride and sovereignty. They are not going to give it up. If they had wanted to, after the beating they took last year, etc., we've had the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action in, I think, 2015. Both sides accused the other of cheating, etc. There's no trust. There's no goodwill.
Clearly.
So my feeling is, Donald Trump is going to clobber Iran as soon as he can. Israel will help him. And none of the Arabs, take it from me, ma'am, I've lived long enough in that area. None of the Arabs is going to say, boo-hoo, kya kar diya? They're going to say, very good, you've beaten up the fellow who's the source of all the trouble.
So you're saying US is more than prepared to launch a military action on Iran, no matter what. They're convinced that the talks are not going to really result in any sort of a progressive move, and Iran is not surely going to give in to diluting their nuclear capabilities entirely. All right, I do want to bring in Major General Kochar quickly into the conversation. With these talks set to take place, General Kochar, we're also looking at a military posturing on part of Washington. How do you look at that? So recent US military deployments, the force posturing, how do you think that's impacting diplomatic conversations that are already going on and to take place the next few hours?
Thank you, Krishwin. I mean, it's a very interesting phase in this entire episode now, because earlier Iran was not willing to come onto the table, but I think seeing the coercive tactics of the Americans, and especially with the carrier battle groups in position today, the US is ready in all respects to launch a strike. But the big question is that why has US not launched it so far? So I think there's a perspective to it. The US doesn't want to start this war.
Okay.
There is going to be repercussions because Iran is not Venezuela, and the people need to understand that Iran has a capability to carry out a riposte, and missiles are its greatest strength as of now.
Yeah.
And to a very lesser extent, the axis of resistance, the
And they're resorting to their own share of military
yes.
posturing, isn't it? Do you think by doing that they're sort of strengthening their negotiating leverage, or they're limiting it?
You see, if you look at the statements from Iran, they are not liking this kind of posturing by the Americans, because they say that we cannot discuss on a gunpoint, because that is what it is amounting to. So I think in the last few days, a certain amount of rhetoric has been reduced by the Americans, and especially China and Russia are also trying to pressurize the Americans into come to these talks. The Gulf countries also want these talks to be successful, because I think this is the last resort. Because after this, I don't think America is going to wait, and most likely there is immense pressure on Iran as of now to agree, because there were, three conditions which the Americans had listed out, for the talks. One
Yeah.
was the nuclear issue. The second was the ballistic missile program of the Iranians, and to stop their ballistic missile arsenal proliferation. And the third was that funding to the proxies. So I
Yeah.
think Iran has outrightly rejected, because saying that a ballistic missile program is a red line, proxies is a red line, because that is the strength of Iran in this region.
And there's a little bit of a red line that's been drawn by Iran, even as far as the nuclear talks are concerned, Ambassador Vora. So Iran has clearly indicated that, yes, we can still consider, let's say, bringing down enriched uranium from 60% to 20%, but there's absolutely no question of diluting the program.
Thank you very much for getting me on this program, for getting General Kocher, whom I respect greatly. I see a little contradiction in what he has said.
Okay.
That Iran will not negotiate with the gun pointing at its head. And the other thing was they are submitting to coercive pressure and coming to the table. There's a contradiction I see there. My own feeling is they have come there to tell the world we are willing to talk, delay it as much as they can. They are a screwdriver turn away from making several nuclear bombs. They are not going to give up now. Take it from me. 20 years in that area. I understand the feeling, I understand the mindset of the Iranians. We were once a great empire. We have to become that again, and we need the ultimate weapon, which is the nuclear bomb.
So
Otherwise,
you're
even
saying there's clearly some shift in the posture, the position that Iran is taking this time around compared to previous times?
No. All that they have done in the past, that was the posture. There was no sincerity. They have to go with it. Otherwise, they keep telling me they are Shias, right? I have a lot of friends there, and they keep saying, who is this pipsqueak jihadistan that you call Pakistan? Simply because he has a nuclear weapon, he says, I'm the leader of the Islamic world. Turkey says that. Uh, Egypt says that. Saudi Arabia said that. No. Iran is the leader. But we're a very big country, powerful army, etc., etc. Also, ma'am, please note that in the Middle East, they've been messing around with Israel to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthi. Those have been neutralized except the Houthis. I have still not understood. I repeat this. I'm 74 years of age, 52 years in diplomacy. I've still not understood what Iran has to do with the Palestinians. Why are you messing around in an area so far away from where you are located? Israel has never posed an existential threat to Iran. Iran has to Israel. Israel doesn't have the right to. They are not going to give up that. angst against Israel is matched only by the anger in Iran. I was there not too long ago in that region. Is matched only by the anger against the Mullah regime. And the Mullah regime realizes that if it has to survive, it will have an enemy. It will have the big Satan, as Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini had said, which is the United States, and the little Satan, which is Israel. Iran needs a fight to sustain the Mullah regime. United States needs a fight to get rid of the Mullah regime.
Okay, General Kochar, your thoughts. There's a slight contradiction that Ambassador Vora pointed to and expressed his disagreement. So, what are your thoughts there? And also, how credible are the stated military options for both the sides? I do want to keep bringing you into that that entire conversation that's almost running parallel, because you don't know what can happen right after these talks commence and conclude.
You see, there is no contradiction in my statement. I would like to clarify to Ambassador Vora. The point was that Iran was not willing to come to the table under a kind of a coercion strategy by the US, and with a gun, pointing on its head. I meant that. And why Iran is coming now is because there is extreme pressure on Iran itself. Because one opportunity I think Iran wants to give itself, and previously it was not willing to talk, but now it is willing to talk because the situation now has come to an extent that I think, as far as the US is concerned, that these talks are the last straw as far as Trump is concerned, because Trump also has to look at his own image in the international fora as well as the domestic. His primaries are also due, so he also wants to project that America is strong and America can carry out a kind of a strategy in which Iran can give up its nuclear weapons, and it will be a great victory for the Trump in case Iran agrees.
But can Washington drive Iran to that point of agreement? Ambassador Vora says no. General Kochar.
No, I tend to agree with him, because as far as because we don't agree on most issues as far as Ambassador Vora is concerned. But I tend to agree with him as far as this is concerned, because you see, America has now very limited alternatives. In case he has moved such a sizable force into this area, he is not going to go back without the objective being achieved. Even if there is a strike on Iran, that doesn't mean that Iran will give up its nuclear program. Because you see, you may create a condition within a country, but you are not able to carry out a regime change. That was the main objective.
And US has created that condition in the past as well, not too long ago. We've seen everything that's happened in 2025. Ambassador Vora, if I could quickly bring you in. So we've been focusing highly on the mistrust that continues between Washington and Tehran. What are those confidence-building measures that the two sides can then come down to agree upon? Is there anything there at all that can bridge the gap?
Nothing at all. Iran is going to say, my nuclear program is for peaceful uses. I need nuclear energy. You have bombed the hell out of many of my nuclear installations in the middle of last year, along with Israel. The Bushehr nuclear plant, which is now being helped by Russia, it's the largest one that they have in the civilian sphere. And they are using that also, they're also using the enriched uranium from there for nuclear weapons. Ma'am, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
All I'd like to say, ma'am, I'd like to quote Ghalib. हमने देखी है उस रीजन की हकीकत लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. If you think that there's going to be peace between the two, as people think, and that Iran will not act under coercion, but it will act under coercion, no. I think Iran is going to walk away from the talks will continue. I've seen these talks, ma'am. I've participated in some. They go on for years. Nothing is going to be achieved. Iran will continue with its nuclear program. And if the Americans attack, the mullahs will go. They don't have the strength to take on the United States, whether it's Venezuela or not.
But they're not going to give in either.
They'll go. If they've gone, then there's no question of giving in.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. That's all the time we have. But this is a conversation that we'll keep bringing in.